I was looking at this episode of, How to Get Rich, something of that sort. I think it's on Netflix or something. And it was asking you, what is your rich life? And for me, I said my rich life is I can just wake up and spend without thinking about, how much is it. Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. For those who are new here, my name is Stella Muyoka. And here we share content on motherhood journeys, parenting, basically inclusive of parenting. We look at our expenses to improve our expenses together. And we just share, other life experiences that we have that could be beneficial to you. And as always, today I wanted to touch on one topic, which is emergency fund. We've talked about this before, and today I want to teach you on how to actually be able to build an emergency fund and for you to understand the importance of it. And so we've discussed about it, and we know what is an emergency fund. Emergency fund, basically, it's a fund that it's from the word emergency. It's a fund that we use during emergency. So it's like our our cushion. We're cushioning ourselves for when we lose our expense, we lose our income, we lose our jobs, which is the job you have. Maybe it's a business deal that went sour. So we need, when you are actually when the money is coming, because we say cash is king. When the cash is coming in, we look at amount of money that can be able to set aside for us to be able to use later in life, in case we have an emergency. Emergency can be, maybe you lose a job, maybe sometimes we get emergencies that are not related to us. Maybe you have your mother is ill, they need money for hospitals, and instead of going people asking people for contribution, you can use whatever you've set aside for that. We also encourage one another to be able actually to come up with also insurances. And there are insurance that you can use in various kind of emergencies that you have. So it's basically our safety net that protects us. It protects us from unforeseen circumstances. And it's essential because it provides it gives us the financial security when you have it. Because I usually tell people, I was looking at this episode of How to Get Rich, something of that sort. I think it's on Netflix or something. And it was asking you, what is your rich life? And for me, I said my rich life is I can just wake up and spend without thinking about how much is it. That is my kind of rich. So that is how we build our kind of rich, other than now with the investments, that the multiple streams of income. So we look at that. Other than, it also allows you to navigate unexpected situations very well without actually going into debt. The key aspect is that to avoid going into debt. You can, there are things that happen in our life. Maybe you are sick, you don't have a cover, or maybe the cover is yet to be renewed, and you need to take care of that. You need to take care of yourself, because when you're not healthy, you cannot function properly, and that is a need that you have at that moment. And maybe you've been told you need 300K for surgery. Where are you going to get 300,000 if you've not saved it, if you don't have it? And if you don't have it, it means what? Either you're going to ask people to contribute it for you, and sometimes you cannot be able to reach. People cannot contribute enough to get to to get to the limit that you require, to get to the amount that you require. So what do? What do we do? Most of us actually run to loans. That's how we find that our parents have taken loans to just take us to school, because we need to go to school. So they keep on, because when I pay for you to go to school, I'm not getting anything back in return. Nothing is coming back to actually help pay this loan. So I keep on taking loan and loan and loan after that. How much will be in my emergency fund? So this varies depending on an individual. Actually, I cannot say you need 50, you need 100, but it's actually based on your current expenses as of today. So you need to come up with a budget, know how much you how much you spend within a month, and from that you can be able to actually determine what your emergency fund is. If you spend 20K monthly, it means your emergency fund, the best can be 120K. 20 times 6 is 120,000. That is if you are the only dependent. So I also feel like it's advisable that if you're having people dependent on you, like maybe you have a family, it's best to actually have like a 9 to 12 months of living expenses. So if you spend 20K as a family, you need to have like around 240 within the year. And when you're looking at the emergency fund, and when I say expense, this means the necessities that you have, which means either if you have how much your housing cost, how much does the grocery cost, how much does transportation cost, how much does your child's school fees cost within the year. Within that year, how much will it be? Like within this year, if I'm spending 240, you have to put aside 240. If you have a car loan, include it in. If you have a mortgage, make sure you include anything that anything that gets out of your pocket within 1 month. So when you're building an emergency fund, I think the one question that we actually ask, when you're trying to save. So when you're building an emergency fund and you have loans, like maybe you have a car loan, maybe you have a house loan, which one do you think is a priority? What should you do as a priority? So for me, I feel like you can work on both at the same time. Look at what is important and work on both. So you can decide to save simultaneously, build up your emergency fund. At the same time, you're able actually to pay off your loan. And when you're prioritizing when aspects where you need to prioritize your loan is where maybe the interest rate is high. If the interest rate is high, it means that more money is going to get out of your pocket. So if you work into clearing this more and saving a little on your emergency fund, that can work best for you. Or you can decide to just clear off the loan first and then find a way of how to actually allocate funds now for your emergency fund. So that is the best. I think that is the best approach anyone can be able to actually do. Or maybe you can, if maybe your loan is not of high interest and it's something you can manage, you can decide to build up your emergency fund. When you build up an emergency fund and it comes up to par and you're done with it at that aspect, you can be able actually to prioritize and use more money to actually clear the loan. So where should I keep my emergency fund? Basically, you're advised to keep your emergency funds in places where you need, an emergency is something you're not expecting, so you need a place where there's fast liquid cash. I can access this money faster than I can access this money within a short period of time, not those places where you cannot actually be able to access money. So you need something that it's very liquid and it's actually low risk, so that you're not able to lose your money. So I think in Kenya the best that I can recommend for an emergency fund is an MMF. I don't recommend MMF for savings, long-term savings, but I recommend it for emergency fund because I feel like the interest rate is not that high, but it's a place where you can put your money and get it anytime you want, and it's still going to earn you some interest. So that is what I think in Kenya you can use as an emergency fund. And you look at an account that gives you stability, also liquidity, and it offers moderate interest. So that is MMF. So you're supposed to avoid places of high risk, to put it in places of high risk, high risk assets, and basically places where you're going to be, there are a lot of penalties when you're withdrawing, those kind of things are going to jeopardize, they're going to cut your savings itself. Also, when you're looking for these places where you can be able to save, actually, if you're looking for saving long term, you look at where sometimes you might, when you're saving on a monthly basis, sometimes things sometimes do not align as based on how you want, and you might not be able to contribute for a while. So in such kind of, look for an account that you're not going to lose that money, and also learn into the insurance things that are involved within. Like if I'm not able to contribute within the first 1 year, am I going to lose this money or not? I think these are the questions you don't ask. When somebody is coming to you, when an insurance provider is coming to you telling you this and this and this, they never tell you the backstory of it. So learn to ask for all the information that you can get, especially on the negative aspect, not the positive. Positive what we give first. Any marketing person will give you the positive facts first, and if you don't ask about the negatives, we never tell you actually. So how can you be able to actually build an emergency fund if you're on a tight budget? This might require a lot of effort, a lot of extra effort and prioritization. That is what is key. I usually say no matter how little you have, you can always set something aside. Whatever little you have, set something aside. And here is where budget is key. Stick to your budget. If you strictly stick to your budget actually, and you know what your needs are, and you need what you need and what you want, you can be able to balance out. No matter how tight your budget is, you can be able to find areas where you can cut down, reduce cost, and also you can cut back on a lot of things. And we usually talk about cutting back, things like eating out. You can, if you're on tight budget, you can cut down that in entertainment for a while. It's just for a while. You can say within this year, I'm not going to take any vacations. I'm not going to eat out. You can take some time off, and when the year is out, you've saved up your money. You go back to living the life that you want to live. So there's that period of starvation you take. You can when you want to save money that you take. You can take that starvation period, and you're going to still go back to to dining out, entertaining yourself, looking for. Also, another thing we talk about is looking for cheap alternatives of things. You can always find. I have this what is it called? I have this belief that I know we say cheap isn't quality, but I feel like you can always get quality. There's always someone who's a bit affordable, on either a product or a service that can still give you the quality that you need. So allocate your small. Keep on allocating, keep allocating your income into, small contribution to now the emergency fund and everything, and also be consistent about it. So always know, no matter how small, if you feel like, no matter how small it is, the small steps actually end up building something that is bigger. Don't overlook the small steps. Actually, small steps are better than bigger steps. Small steps, they give you that consistency and also help you to develop a habit of, saving and putting the money aside, So don't overlook the small steps. They are very important. Anything small is going to, like jaza in Itonga, what was the what is the proverb that used to be jaza kidogo kidogo jaza kibaba, something of that sort. And as always, remember that building an emergency fund is always a gradual process. It's something gradual. The small steps we say is something gradual, and it's okay to start small. Small as 100 bob, 50 shillings. It's not as small as you can. The aspect is to start. Starting is a bit hard for most of us. That is why we don't, evolve in life. So the little start, the small step, as little as it is, you can start. And also be consistent and learn to be disciplined. I know being disciplined is a bit of a challenge in most of us, but it's something that you can learn for yourself. So as always, thank you for being here with me, and share, subscribe, and also share your comments. You can put in the comments down below on the video, on your experience on building up an emergency fund, the challenges you've had. So let people actually learn from you. So as always, like, subscribe, and also click the bell to be able to get to know when more videos, get notifications on more videos that come up on our channel. So thank you. Bye bye.